We're at part 3, the case for depth. You know how in part 2 I was saying how we can make better decisions if we have more space to think, more space to reflect? Well, this one, this closing episode of all 3 episodes is about slower practice and what can change as a result of having slower practices in life. I'm going to use yoga as an example. So, me, Serena, as a content creator, a political commentator, a strategic thinker, someone who's been in communications for 20 plus years, who is also doing postgrad in systems thinking. What I absolutely adore more than anything else is slow yoga. The way I had to say that, slow yoga, like a really slow yoga practice where you can just sit in a posture and connect with your breath and just really sort of get so super present to every element of your anatomy, getting into the sort of posture, into the alignment, enjoying the stretch, enjoying the contortion, enjoying the strengthening, the challenge to balance, all of these things with breath. And then you're in it. You're in the moment. When all those things are going on, monkey brain, monkey mind is not going to be doing its thing. I find, and I've trained as a yoga teacher, I've taught as a yoga teacher, I find the faster styles don't help me. I've done them, trained in them, still do them from time to time just to kind of switch things up a bit, but they don't help me completely. Not right now, anyway. Maybe they helped me at one point when I was very much into conditioning. Well, I still am. And I find still the slower yoga is more challenging in terms of strengthening, more challenging in terms of balance. I haven't noticed sort of a lack of tone or muscle sort of strength or fitness from doing a slower style. It actually feels more challenging rather than trying to whiz through postures. I found the same with slow study, reading, note taking, like paper and pen, the process of printing out academic papers and notes and then annotating them takes me back to when I studied English literature as an A level and how I would annotate in the margins of my books. And having a more of a, I guess, a visual memory, it really helped me, especially when spotting themes and all the lovely nuances and the different mechanisms that Shakespeare, for instance, uses and used to tell a story. See, all of those things, all those layers, all those levels, you notice when you slow down. My lecture series, my 21-day lecture series, starting on the 1st of February on Serena's Playbook, it's all about brand communications. The point is to slow down and notice more, because when you slow down and do slower processes, you have the chance, you have the opportunity to reflect, and it becomes a strategic practice. And I think it's necessary. It shouldn't be a luxury. It shouldn't be something that's, oh, okay, I did a vacation or had a break, had a day off. It needs to be built into your daily life. And we talked a little bit about that in episode 2. I like to create a bit of a gap between stimulus and response. I want to ensure I'm not being reactive. And when I find myself in situations where I am, I usually betray myself. I betray myself in the sense that I will admit to feeling reactive and not wanting to react. I think in those situations, it's better just to be, just zip it. But I won't beat myself up about it because at least I'm noticing, at least I can notice and I can tell when I feel that way in the moment. I didn't always have that experience. I don't know about you, but I grew up realizing later how I felt about something or how I felt about something in the moment. And I guess it's still improving and it's a symptom of many things. But this sort of space between, whilst I want space between stimulus and response, well, it's because I don't, because there's no space between stimulus and reactivity, right? So that's when, if you have more space, you have more awareness. So space sort of equates to, well, it does. Space equates to awareness. And when you have this regularly and you get to experience this routinely, you gain pattern recognition. You gain sort of this ability to synthesize things. Whereas if you're not, then you are reactive. You don't spot patterns and you can't strategically think. There's a practice within, it's a method really within systems thinking. It's called a rich picture. And in the rich picture process, and I love doing them myself, is if you're looking at a situation of interest or a scenario, a complex problem, you can draw the whole thing out in completely freestyle. So you can draw something that represents stakeholders, draw something that represents uncertainty, the risks, this, that, anything. Draw something, write something to reflect thoughts, ideas, criticism, reputation. Like it could be absolutely anything. It's a rich picture. There could be symbols. You could have sketches. You could have words. You could have diagrams. You could have a collage. And that sort of zooming out, that sort of imagining of a situation in its entirety, the holistic nature of it all is so important. It's part of real reflexivity. And I talk about that all the time on Serena's Playbook. And I've been wanting to talk about this and this process on my personal channel, and I will, because there are some areas that I would reserve for my personal channel and some for Serena's Playbook, and certainly separate content for my Media and Politics commentary channel. But these are some ways that you can build depth, I find, in our existing routine. Do you not journal? Do you not write things down? Do you not scribble down thoughts and ideas? Do you? When I was exploring art processes, especially for abstract painting and art journaling, I realized, I could bring painting, sketching into my journaling, because art journaling is done on a sketchbook and you could be painting, scribbling, writing. I could just be much more creative. I could be more creative with my journaling where I'm writing, but now I'll write in zigzags. Now I'll write where I'm not supposed to. So I wanted to encourage and invite you to slow down so that you can make those better decisions, so that you don't betray yourself, so that you can retain more. And there's this sort of, it's not a sort of thing, it's this misconception that as we get older, none of this is worth it. It's pointless because we're not able, because we're rotting away. I'm going to do a review of a book I'm nearly finished. It's called The Gift of Aging. I'm nearly finished with it, sorry. And it's called The Gift of Aging. And it has been so powerful in affirming things for me in the sense of somebody who in their 40s looking down just round the corner to 50s and then 60s and on and so forth, and being very grateful and also reflective of what the next stage of life should look like and what I'd like in it. And The Gift of Aging had me read these wonderful testimonies and case studies of centenarians, people who are 100 plus years old, and the lives they lead and their lifestyles. And books like this sort of that are about aging in a positive way are very useful for anyone who wants to plan for their later years, but later years don't have to mean less of something. You become much more discerning, but it can still be enriching. And you arrive at those ideas for later life, for life, when things slow down, when we create space, when we are able to spot our own patterns, because everything is very unique and must be tailored to us, because one size doesn't fit all. And the personal development and self-help will have you believe that one size fits all, and it really doesn't. More space, slowing down, more reflection allows us to arrive at ideas, solutions, methods that are far more suitable to us than the ones that have been prescribed to us. And so, with this 3-part series, I hope I've challenged you, encouraged you, affirmed it for you. Perhaps these are thoughts that you've always had. It's to enhance how we live, consume, react, respond, not react, respond, to level up, like Ciara says, level up, to elevate our thinking, whether it's strategic for business or to be an insightful, reflective person in our personal lives. And actually, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, just done in different domains. So I appreciate your time and attention so much. Thank you so much for being here for the 3-part series. If you haven't subscribed, please do consider doing so. And if these videos and this style of content and this content itself appeals to anyone you know, then share. I'd love to hear from them as well. Have a wonderful week, and I'll catch you in the next one.